Hello, my noble band of outlaws. Outlaw Samurai coming at you live with a video. Well, stuck inside, not being able to do anything has got me thinking. Yesterday I was watching Yuashahimei, the Half-Demon Princesses. And that's an anime, and if you don't know what that anime is, if any of you out there watched Inuyasha back in the early 2000s, you'll know what Yuashahimei is because it's the continuation of the Inuyasha storyline. It's set roughly 10 years in the future after the events of Inuyasha transpired, with the half-demon with the stars of the show being Shishomaru's and Rin's half-demon daughters, and Inuyasha and Kagome's quarter-demon daughter, Moroha. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics of this, because if you want the specifics, watch the anime. But what I am going to do is come up with a theory video. I had this theory cooking in my head about Shishomaru. So, I guess I do have to give you some background of Yuashahimei. During the events of Yuashahimei, we know that the great dog demon Toga, Shishomaru and Inuyasha's father, had what you could call a rival. His name was Kinnamaru. Kinnamaru despises demons and not despises demons, he despises half-demons and thinks they have no place in the world. Well, after the events of Inuyasha takes place, Kinnamaru is in a hibernation-like state and he's asleep, basically. So, there's every 500 years in the Inuyasha world, there's this comet that passes by Earth, and a fragment of it comes flying at the Earth every 500 years. The first time it came flying around, Toga and Kinnamaru teamed up to destroy the thing. The second time around, Inuyasha and Shishomaru teamed up. This time around, the comet's going to play a role later on, but during the events of Yuashahimei, we're introduced to Shishomaru and his daughters. I think he named his eldest daughter after his father, Toga, and Setsuna is his other daughter. Toga, she gets sent into the future via the power of these rainbow pearl things. Crystals that seem to have some similar powers to the Shikon Jewel. And I know I'm dropping a lot in Inuyasha references, but if you watch Inuyasha, you know what the hell I'm talking about. Any case, years go by, Toga ends up going back to the past somehow. I don't exactly remember how it started. Either Setsuna and Moroha get dragged to the future, or Toga ends up going back to the past and then going back to the future. Any case, the three of them decide to team up and go fight against Kinnamaru, because the prophecy of Kinnamaru's defeat is an essence beyond time and space, and an essence that is neither demon nor human. Half-demons. But, in any case, my theory about this is we see Shishomaru, and he teams up with Kinnamaru at the beginning, and we're thinking Shishomaru, he's gone back to his old ways, he's evil again. But I don't really think so, because when he teams up with Kinnamaru, Kinnamaru asks him if he's going to kill Inuyasha, and Shishomaru responds in his classic way, yes. But then when Shishomaru and Kinnamaru go to actually confront Inuyasha, Shishomaru rams his fingers into Inuyasha's right eye and extracts the Black Pearl. And for those of you who don't know what the Black Pearl is, it's this magic item that opens a portal to the Netherworld, and more specifically, the part of the Netherworld where Inuyasha and Shishomaru's father's grave site is located. So, with that in mind, Shishomaru, he imprisons Inuyasha and Kagome inside the Black Pearl. And that got me thinking, if Shishomaru had come to kill Inuyasha, why would he seal him in the Black Pearl? Seal him within his father's grave? My theory is that Shishomaru is actually tricking Kinimaru. And when the time comes, Shishomaru, who I believe is in possession of the Black Pearl, will release Kagome and Inuyasha, and together with their daughters will tag team up in an epic fashion and take down Kinimaru. Now, later on in the episodes, like episode 19, we see Shishomaru and Kinimaru have a sword duel, and we see that they're pretty much equal. And classic, whenever two badass warriors clash, the heavens rip asunder and the earth splits. So, classic Shohan sword duel. We see that at this current time, none of the girls have any chance of coming close to Kinimaru's power. Mainly because Setsuna and Muraha both have seals placed on them to restrict their demon powers. Toga is the only one that doesn't have a seal on her powers. Which is another thing. If they had been unsealed when they fought Kinimaru, would they have held a better chance of beating him? Because when Muraha has her powers unsealed, she becomes Beniyasha, the Destroyer of Lands. And is it's an extreme power boost, but can only hold it for 1 minute before conking out. Setsuna, on the other hand, can't actually control her power, so she has a seal placed on her by Moroku. So, with that in mind, I believe that if Setsuna and Moroha didn't have their seals on them at the time, then they would have been able to handle Kinimaru a little easier, and Kinimaru wouldn't have just written them off as weaklings. He's like, okay, at the current time, these girls aren't strong enough to take me on. But if I let them live, like, they're gonna get stronger. So I should probably just kill them now. Shishomaru did come in the episode and fight off Kinimaru and saved his daughters. So, to say Shishomaru is a bad parent is untrue. What I believe is going on is Shishomaru is swallowing the massive amount of pride he's always had and doing what's best for his wife, Rin, and their daughters. And he's pretending to work with Kinimaru in order to basically stab him in the back in the end. Because if you watch the original Inuyasha, Shishomaru started off as a major villain. He was Inuyasha's opposite. And he continuously tried to kill Inuyasha and take his Tensaiga. Yes, if you noticed the blue, I built a saya for this thing, which is actually pretty damn sturdy. But aside from that, Shishomaru always tried to steal the Tensaiga, eventually reconciling that Inuyasha, he is the one true master of Tensaiga, and that it is his sword. Later on, he gained his own sword, Baku Saiga, which means explosion crushing fang. Saiga meaning crushing fang. Baku meaning explosion. So explosive crushing fang is the translation of Baku Saiga. And this thing is beast mode strong all the damn time. One slash will cause, basically all Shishomaru has to do is nick you with the blade and your entire body explodes. But with that in mind, I believe what will happen later on as we progress into yuashahimei is that Shishomaru, he's not going to be a prominent character as much. Yes, he's going to have a prominent influence, but I feel like Shishomaru and Jock, and they'll come up with this plan like, okay, once Kinimaru has officially let his guard down, all of his henchmen are defeated, and he's the only one we have to deal with, I will release Inuyasha, and we will tag team on Kinimaru. Now, the reason why I say Shishomaru and Inuyasha are going to kill Kinimaru is because, honestly, I believe they are the only ones who can. Because if you remember what I said, it took Toga and Kinimaru before to slice that giant meteor out of the sky. And it took Inuyasha and Shishomaru to destroy the meteor the second time. Inuyasha using the Mados on Getsuha. And we need to fast forward a little bit here. When Kinimaru asked Shishomaru why he didn't kill Inuyasha, Jokin, making an obvious bluff, said that one day Inuyasha's Mados on Getsuha will come in very handy. So let him pay respects to his father's grave. I believe Jokin basically said that one day Lord Inuyasha, well, he wouldn't call him Lord, he'd call him, one day Inuyasha and Lord Shishomaru will kick your ass. So that's why Shishomaru sealed Inuyasha in the Black Pearl. Now, with that in mind, I get that the story is predominantly focusing on Toga, Setsuna, and Moroha. The two daughters of Shishomaru, the two half-demon daughters of Shishomaru, and Inuyasha and Kagome's quarter demon daughter. But I feel the story would end in one of three ways. One, we find out that Shishomaru is the ultimate villain of the whole damn thing, and once the girls kill Kinimaru, they have to go and kill Shishomaru. That is the least likely scenario in my mind, and the one that I hope to all the manga gods, to Toriyama himself, I hope does not come true. The second is the one I mentioned beforehand, where Inuyasha and Shishomaru combine their powers and kill Kinimaru. The third situation is like Kinimaru, it begins with Inuyasha and Shishomaru tag teaming against Kinimaru. Kinimaru manages to kill them, and then Toga, Setsuna, and Moroha take their father's swords. Because, if we remember correctly, Shishomaru has the Tenseiga, the Bakusaiga, and Inuyasha has the Tensaiga. Now, we have 3 daughters and 3 swords. So I would think that Setsuna would probably take the Tenseiga. Toga would be given the Tensaiga, Toga would be given the Bakusaiga, and then Moroha would obviously take up the Tensaiga. And to see Moroha use the Wind Scar, like, I don't care what you do with this, whether it's Inuyasha or Moroha. I would have preferred Moroha, but if we see Moroha pick up the Tensaiga and just Wind Scar Kinimaru's ass, that would be so damn epic. Or like Moroha, she obtains the Tensaiga and she learns how to use the Wind Scar, the Backlash Wave, the Red Tensaiga, the Adamant Barrage, Dragon Tensaiga, Black Mados on Getsuha Tensaiga. There's like 20, I think there's like 5 or 10 different Tensaiga forms. But just to see her master Tensaiga and then go up against Kinimaru would be epic as hell. And then to see Setsuna and Toga master their father's swords. So I'm kind of leaning towards this as the end of yuashahimei, but I also like to think that Inuyasha and Shishomaru would be able to defeat Kinimaru if they were to tag team together. Because Shishomaru would be able to match Kinimaru in power, and Inuyasha basically all has to do is open a Mado and boom, throw the bitch's ass in there. There is another point I wanted to touch on, and that is when Inuyasha and Shishomaru destroy the meteor. There's this weird dragon-like Hydra creature inside the meteor that no one knows what the hell that thing is. So, I think that Kinimaru is like the, it's like, I know in some video games you have the final challenge before the epic boss fight. And I feel like Kinimaru is more like in this scenario, would be more like the stepping stone. Where it's like, okay, we defeated Kinimaru and he was insanely powerful. By doing so, we also have gotten a power boost. Now we have to fight the real villain. The whatever the hell is inside that meteor thing. And I do believe that is going to play a role later on. But what I really feel like, at least aside from the meteor, the most probable explanation is this, is that Shishomaru, he's not working for Kinemaro, he's tricking Kinemaro into believing he's on his side. That is why he spared Inuyasha. That is why he allowed Moroha to get away on Hachi's back. That is why he saved his girls, aside from being their father and loving them. Because yes, Shishomaru does love people, it's just he will never vocalize it. Or really show emotion. We got to see Shishomaru cry once in Inuyasha, and that almost broke the internet. So, if we hear Shishomaru say he loves his girls or something, you can just forget it. Everyone in the world, don't even bother hooking onto the internet, it's going to crash. Because all the Inuyasha fans out there are going to lose their shit. But, in any case, so, Shishomaru, when the final battle arrives, he will release Inuyasha and Kagome from the Black Pearl, and they're going to team up. I'm assuming that Shishomaru had some means of communicating with Inuyasha over all these years, and it's like, okay, I'm alone now, I can tell you the plan. Like, we've seen Shishomaru open the portal to the world before, and if he has the Black Pearl, he can open the portal to their father's grave whenever he chooses. So, with that in mind, I'll be right back. Sorry, I'm back. But I do believe that he has some means of communicating with Inuyasha. And when Inuyasha comes out, I really think that Inuyasha's character design will change a bit. Maybe we won't see the classic robe of the fire rat. Maybe it'll be worn and tattered. Or while he's in the other world, he's been training. He's been fighting with the spirits of all these insanely powerful demons. He's in a perpetual war with Naraku in the afterlife, or his father in the afterlife comes up from hell or whatever and trains Inuyasha as makes him super OP, on par with Shishomaru and Kinemaro, and when they come out, we just see this buff ass, maybe not The Rock, but maybe more muscly defined Inuyasha. His hair is a little more wild. He actually he has the markings when he goes full demon, but he's still in his half demon form. He's learned to fully tap into the demon blood's power that's flowing through him, and we just see him draw Tensaiga, and it's 5 times bigger than it was in the anime, and just with the force of his swing alone, blow apart a mountain range or some shit. I don't think Inuyasha will become that powerful, but I do want to see Inuyasha play some role in the fight with Kinemaro, because Inuyasha is always my favorite character, and it's not because he was the protagonist of the series, it's just because I liked him as a character. So, I think Shishomaru and Inuyasha will tag team against Kinemaro. Whether they beat him or not, I don't know. We don't really know how strong Kinemaro is. Toga, he was an extremely powerful demon, but he died from fighting a giant rock dragon thing and then saving his human wife from a burning castle. So, if that's any indication, and these two, it took both of them to destroy the meteor last time around. Just like it took Inuyasha and Shishomaru. You could argue that Shishomaru could have done it by himself. I mean, he definitely has the ability, he has the power. But Inuyasha's Meido Zangetsuha just basically ensured that, okay, I'll break the thing apart and you basically just vacuum up the rest. And that's what they did. So I really do think that the final battle will involve Inuyasha, Kagome, Sango, Miroku, all the OG cast of Inuyasha coming back together, Kohaku, Rin, Kaede. Kikyo the only exception because she's dead now. Then we'd have Setsuna, Moroha, Toga, Shishomaru, Jaken, like all the original cast, like main characters of Inuyasha come together and finally full on fight Kinimaru and defeat him once and for all. Like I could see this now, Toga using like the Dragon Strike and like Toga and Setsuna combining with Shishomaru and create like this Cyclone Dragon Bakusaiga strike or something like that. And then Moroha and Inuyasha, they're like double Crimson Backlash Wave, like father and daughter wind scar or something. Okay, that would be awesome. Like Inuyasha teaches Moroha how to perform a wind scar with her Kinikaramaru sword. I think that's how you pronounce it. But like Inuyasha just raises Tensaiga above his head and teaches her how to perform the wind scar, and they're like father-daughter wind scar. That would be awesome as hell. But that's how I would see the fight go. One last thing before I end the video. What would happen afterwards, after all the fighting was over? What would Shishomaru and Inuyasha do now that they're back and they can be with their kids? Well, I would feel like Shishomaru would probably still be like that dude that's wandering all over the place, keeping his kingdom in check, while his daughters grow up or whatever. And then when they get old enough, maybe Shishomaru, when he dies, he tells Jaken, similar to what Toga did with Shishomaru and Inuyasha, it's like, okay, give Setsuna the Tenseiga and Toa the Bakusaiga. Like, these will be their swords. These are the swords I bequeath to my kids. And Inuyasha, when he dies, Moroha, he will give her the Tensaiga. I could actually see Moroha wielding Tensaiga myself, but I don't think it would be as strong. Now, when she becomes Beniyasha, then there'd be no problem because she'd be able to fully harness the Tensaiga. But I would feel like with Moroha, if she would use the Tensaiga, it would only kind of half transform. Like the blade, I would feel like it would get like bigger. Not as big as it is fully transformed, but maybe like a half transformed state. Where like the blade gets a little bigger, there's only a small tuft of fur at the end of the guard. And like all the techniques are like half powered. So the Tensaiga slaying 50 men with one sweep, or the Baku Yuha, or the Backlash Wave. But that's what I would think. And Setsuna and Setsuna and Toga, that really wouldn't be the case because they are half demons and they would have the ability to use the sword to the full potential. Or maybe Moroha would be able to use Tensaiga completely. But I feel like if Inuyasha and Shishomaru were to die shortly after the final battle, then that would be the case. Kagome, it's like handing Moroha the Tensaiga. And then maybe she goes off with like Myoga, the flea demon, or like Moroku, and he teaches her. I don't really think Moroku could teach her, honestly. Like maybe more like Myoga teaches her how to use the Tensaiga and how to fully tap its power. And then he teaches Setsuna and Toa how to use the Bakusaiga and the Tenseiga. I really do believe that in the end, when all is said and done, the daughters will inherit the swords of their fathers. That is a final conclusion that Shishomaru and Inuyasha will carry on their father's tradition and pass on their swords to their kids when they die. But that is all I wanted to say. I've been rambling enough. I hope you liked the video, you enjoyed it. If you want to hear more anime theory videos about Yamashima and the half-demon princesses, then comment down below. But until next time, Outlaw Samurai tells all y'all, be crazy rednecks, be safe in using your weapons, and I'm out. Win Scar! Peace.